It looked like the Celtics might have had it, and then one critical mistake changed everything. We'll talk about that right now in a bonus Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. We kept the madness every game, every practice. Prime time, Deppin' D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts on weekends like this when they play on a Friday or a Saturday. The show is free. It's available everywhere. It's on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed. Become an everydayer. Join me every Monday through Friday. Again, daily podcast, so you can have it on your way to work, as you're getting ready for work, at work. I won't say anything. So however you want to listen or watch on YouTube, feel free. Get into the comments section, share your thoughts with me, John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering this team for about 20 years now. I've been doing this podcast for 10, and I've written a couple of books about the team. This team right now is struggling. Man, we are on such a back and forth, like, oh, they win a couple of games, or they win and they look good, and it's like, hey, maybe they can be a playoff team, and then they lose a game like this, and it's like, oh, well, let's start looking at, lottery film for, whoever they might pick in the top 10 or 15 or whatever. Later on, we'll just talk a little bit about what's trying to figure out what sticks. And in the second segment, well, I say second segment, I don't know if I'm going to do 3 segments today. It's a bonus podcast, so kind of can do what I want. But I'll also talk about the Magic shooting and beating a game plan that the Celtics had kind of like no choice but to throw out there. But let's just start where this all started to fall apart, which was a little bit like 5:50 mark in the fourth quarter. The Celtics had just taken a 1-point lead. They inbounded the ball. They forced a stop. They inbound the ball. Josh Minott has it going up the right side. The Celtics have a 1-point lead and the ball, and Minott turns and says, you know what? This is a Jaylen Brown situation. I'm going to give it back to Jaylen Brown to bring it up. And he didn't recognize that. I think it was Anthony Black that was there. And he just essentially got an assist on Anthony Black's basket because it was a turnover right there, went up, hit the basket, and things started to spiral from there. The run after that, I think, was 14-2, and all of a sudden, the Magic were up 11 again. So I can't say that the Celtics were going to steal this game, but it felt like the momentum was building that way. They were at that point in the fourth quarter, Anthony Simons was going off. He, I think, had 11 in the fourth quarter. They were starting to kind of throw their punches at the Orlando Magic, and it looked like the Celtics had the opportunity. Jaylen Brown was back in. Peyton Pritchard was coming back in. They had this, just the flow of the game was building towards at least a back and forth finish. And then that turnover, and it's tough to, look, I get it. You're Josh Minott in that situation is not looking to come up and initiate the offense or any of that. He's like, okay, we're up 1. There's essentially 6 minutes left, 5 and change. And let's run this offense to, let's run the Jaylen Brown offense. Let's do what the coach wants. Let's do what's best for the team. And it's just basically a brain fart. But from there, the late game execution just completely craters. The last 6 minutes of the game, the Celtics turned it over 4 times. They shot 5 of 14. They allowed the Magic to shoot 8 for 11, 4 of 6 from 3, and they got to the line 8 times. Now, that late game execution is made more difficult by the fact that the Celtics fouled so much early in the fourth quarter. They put the Magic in the penalty early. And now that puts you in a position here where you're dealing with a team that's starting to get desperate, right? A big burly Orlando Magic team. They're 6'10" across the front line. They're all like 250, 260, big dudes. And they are hard charging now because they had a lead. They had a 16-point lead in the first quarter. They had leads throughout the game. And here it is, fourth quarter. They're at home. It's an NBA Cup game. And they don't want to lose. They've come out to a disappointing start to the season. You don't want to lose at home, not to a team like the Celtics that's very much in figure it out mode. So of course there's going to be some level of desperation. So when you've already put them in the penalty early, now you're dealing with physicality. Now they're going to up that pressure. They're going to up their defensive pressure. So when they force those turnovers, now you got to come on down the other end. Can you match that physicality? What ends up happening is it ends up being counterproductive because you see guys be a little tentative, but when you're tentative, that's when you foul. You're trying to be like, oh no, I don't want to touch them. And then, oh, maybe I should. And you just are in a bad mental place. When you put them in the penalty early, you get yourself into a place where you can't match the physicality the right way. You can't play free. And that really puts you at a disadvantage. So going to the line 8 times, the Magic in the last 6 minutes of the game, that's part of it. So the Magic scored 28 points in 6 minutes. 28 points is like a quarter where you're like, it's a touch too many points, but it's okay. Modern NBA, it's all right. And that's 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. You give up 28 points. It's kind of stark. We talk about momentum shifts all the time, and you don't normally see such a black and white, boom, this play, the Celtics were doing so well, this one turnover just, it's like a meme where people make the Microsoft like error sound and it just goes bump and things change. And like all of a sudden the game was completely different. If you stopped watching the game in the, at the 6 minute mark, you can separate that into 2 game films and be like, oh, these are 2 different games. There's no way that the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter matches the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. These aren't the same teams. It's kind of wild to see that momentum change, but the Celtics, I don't want to say they panicked. They were throwing out some wild lineups. They with, let's see, I have it down here. I wrote it on Boston Sports Journal. The Celtics with, where was it? 6 and change halfway through it was 9:52. That's where it was. 9:52. Anthony Simons, Derrick White, Josh Minott, Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez. 9:52 to go in what was a tie game at that point. The Celtics have Simons, White, Minott, Walsh, and Gonzalez on the floor. That's just, you've got Simons, who is, I don't know, still trade bait, new guy, still struggling. Derrick White, who's supposed to be the guy that you're counting on, but at this point, he even said on his podcast that you're figuring a lot of stuff out. He doesn't know where the shots are coming from. It used to be the past few years, you knew exactly where the shots were coming from, exactly what you were trying to do. And now they're out there trying to, like, it's free flowing. You just don't know where the shots are coming from. So he's kind of, figuring out that role. He's struggling with that role. You got Josh Minott, scrap heap guy from Minnesota. Okay, great. He's playing well, but still only 10 games in. Jordan Walsh, who's a second-round pick that, frankly, he's kind of on the edge of, is he even going to be on this team anymore? And Hugo Gonzalez, 19 years old, who's just, 19. He's a rookie. He's, even though he has all the Real Madrid experience, he's still a rookie. And the NBA is a different animal. To throw those guys out there while the Magic are throwing their main guys, the guys that people are looking at and saying, this is a team that could be a top 4 team that could have home court in the first round, that could make some noise. This is tough. It's hard to ask these guys to all have perfect fourth quarter execution, which means Jaylen has more pressure on him, which means Derrick, which means Peyton. All of these guys that have been here, who have been around. Neemias Queta, who was pretty good in this game, he has more pressure. And it's like, especially on Queta, who is just coming around to being a pretty good player, right? The on-off numbers are incredible. I do think that the on-off numbers are a little bit of small sample size theater and a function of when you go beyond Queta on the front line, it's just impossible to keep up with. There's just no front court protection there. There's no rim protection there. So I think Queta's impact on the team is positive. The numbers make it look so incredible because once you get past Queta on the depth chart, defensively things just fall off a cliff, which puts a lot of pressure on him too. And he's just starting to get used to being a starting center for this team. The pressure of having to carry defensive units, that's a lot. So that is a big ask for the Celtics. This late game execution stuff, it's just a big ask for lineups that really make no sense. But what's Joe Mazzulla going to do? Who's he going to put out there? It doesn't make any sense to have this lineup out there. But at that point, you're like, this is the best we can do right now. The Celtics are going to live with the Magic shooting. I'll come back. We'll talk about the Magic shooting, and I'll talk about more of the seeing what sticks. All of that's coming when I come back on the Locked On Celtics podcast. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash, bonus episode, and DoorDash is going to give you bonuses when somebody drops 50 points in a game. They're going to give you 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. DoorDash, this is the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Somebody drops 50, here's what happens. You go onto the DoorDash app, you have Dash Pass, use the promo code NBA50, you'll get 50% off your next order the next day after somebody drops 50, and then you're automatically entered to win what they call the Ultimate Fan Bag. That is player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, stuff that you actually want, so you can go onto DoorDash, and it doesn't even have to be food. We think of DoorDash as food, but you can get anything delivered. Headphones, socks, whatever you want. It's there for you. When somebody drops 50, you go onto the DoorDash app. You have to have Dash Pass. Use the code NBA50. You'll get 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with that promo code NBA50. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. The Prize Picks app is going to reward you for making good decisions. We all make decisions every day. Why not get paid for them? If you're following the NBA, obviously you're here, you follow the NBA. Maybe you're following the NFL as well. This is a great time to jump in. Prize Picks, it's super simple. You pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get them right, you win. So it takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup. You can play anywhere Prize Picks operates. That includes California, Texas, and Georgia. So you can use the Prize Picks app on both football Sundays and NBA tip-offs. The Celtics play on Sunday. The Patriots play on Sunday. You can do a Drake May, Jaylen Brown combination. Their new stacks feature is a game changer. You can now pick more on Jaylen's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if somebody happens to leave with an injury, your injury reboot saves the lineup from a loss. Download Prize Picks today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make your second listen Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA Game Night. Game Night's a 7-day-a-week podcast covering every game in the NBA. Lots of games, so this is going to be a full podcast on Locked On NBA Game Night. Monday through Friday, you get Locked On NBA, covering the big stories. Both of those are free and available wherever you found this podcast, even on YouTube. So part of the plan here was, and Peyton Pritchard said this directly after the game, you got to live with some threes. And the Magic shot 17 of 36 from three. Now, the Magic were bottom 3 in makes, bottom 4 in attempts. They are, I think, dead last in percentage heading into this game. And all they did was shoot 17 of 36, 47%. So you can even just look at this number and say, well, that's where the Celtics lost this game. 17 makes from 3 is a season high for the Magic. The Celtics shot 13 for 37, 35%, a little bit below average, not good enough. Only 37 three-point attempts. Once again, the Celtics play the Magic and they shoot 30-something three-pointers. That's how it goes against the Magic. They are not going to allow you to beat them from 3. The Celtics didn't shoot great. Again, 1 for 6 for Jaylen Brown, 1 for 6 for Derrick White, 1 for 5 from Sam Hauser. Meanwhile, Jaylen Suggs is 4 for 6. Suggs is a career 33% three-point shooter. He's been shooting better this season, but he has an over 7 night a couple of games ago, and the 4 3-pointers is a season high. So Jaylen Suggs outshot the combination of Derrick White, Jaylen Brown, and Sam Hauser. That's not supposed to happen. That's not how this is supposed to go. The Celtics are you have to live with things. And this is where seeing what sticks. My opening line to my column on Boston Sports Journal was, I would hate to be the person who cleans the walls around the Celtics practice facility because the amount of crap Joe Mazzulla has to throw at them to see what sticks must be overwhelming at this point. And that's where the Celtics are. The lineups are all over the place because they have to be. We talked about them yesterday with Tom Westerholm. They're one day it's Hugo Gonzalez, one day it's Jordan Walsh. In the first half, it was Jordan Walsh in this game, not so much in the second half. Baylor Shireman, who I thought, hey, he's a big dude. He's going to get some opportunity in this game. Didn't see Baylor Shireman. DNP coach's decision. Boucher, another DNP. Xavier Tillman was not with the team, personal reasons. So the Celtics are just that lineup that I talked about before. You're not going to see that lineup. Anthony Simons had 11 points in the fourth quarter. Those were his that 11 points for the whole game because he played 2.5 minutes in the first half because Jordan Walsh came in the second quarter and was playing well, and that kind of changed a lot of the momentum at that point. This Celtics team is just, it's a mix and match, trying to figure things out. Guys are talking about long-term goals in these post-game situations. Peyton Pritchard, talking about, we're learning. We're figuring things out. It's only 10 games, and it is only 10 games, and they're 4-6 after these 10 games. I would like to see them win on Sunday. I've talked about them being 5-6 or 6-5. If they're in that mix, then fine. 5-6 will be okay. But the lineups that they're throwing out there, Minott is starting. Queta is playing well, but there's nobody really behind him. Luka Garza, Boucher didn't even play. Tillman, not with the team. So of the 4 bigs that they had, only Garza played behind Queta. And then they threw Minott out there as a small ball 5. It's against the Orlando Magic. I know they're trying to be like, hey, all right, well, if they're going to go super big, then we're going to go super small and fast. And you can say, well, the Celtics can't guard these guys at that size with this lineup, but Orlando can't guard these small guys in their speed at that size. So it's kind of like a battle of wills. I don't know how Sunday's going to go. I think I'm impressed that the Celtics didn't get crushed on the boards. They gave up 12 offensive rebounds. That's not a ton. The Magic average 19 second chance points per game. That's what they hit. So to be honest, if a Celtics team is only giving up a team's average, which is a good average, 19, I think was second in the league, to not be like, oh, well, 19 against everybody else, but against the Celtics is going to be 30. That's a win. They need to be better in their own second chance points. They were 5 of 13, so they missed a lot of chances at second chance points. They only lost that by 3. They lost fast break points by 1. They were even in points in the paint. Margins were kind of like, they fouled way too much. Way too much. I know we have to accept some of these fouls because of the style of play, the defense, but 31 free throw attempts is outrageous. And that's just fouling, like not even, I have no qualms with the fouls that were called against the Celtics. 24 of 31 from the line for Orlando. 11 of 16 for the Celtics. Now, Jaylen Brown, interestingly, after the game was like, hey, message received. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. He was not fined for his comments about the non-call against, it was in the Utah game, was Keontae George, that slip and trip. Obviously, Jaylen, after the game, after the Jazz game, had words, dropped a couple of curse words, and then went on to his Twitch and had like a 6-minute rant. And I guess the officials, I don't know. Like, I don't put it past the officials to have these moments of, yeah, you know what? We don't like hearing that. So guess what? You're not going to get these calls. I got to go back and look at the film. I don't know if a lot of that stuff was missed or not, but Jaylen says message received. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. We'll see. He only went to the line twice. He's been going to the line a lot more. So maybe he has a point. I have to go back and look at the film, but I don't know how this is going to go on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see if Jaylen's keeping his mouth shut gets him to the line a little bit more. But this is tough. This is tough for the Celtics. Like, this is a tough matchup. These margins where you expected them to lose by a lot, they didn't. That's impressive. 14 turnovers for 22 points, though, that's a problem. Fouling's a problem. Turnovers against the Magic were a problem. And then the shooting, I don't know. At some point, you got to hit shots. Maybe the Magic go back to sucking from 3 on Sunday, or maybe they carry this through and come back to like a normal percentage. I have no idea. I have no idea. This is the thing, like game to game now with the Celtics, I have no idea. If they go 5-6 through the first 11, they have a chance against the Sixers to go 6-6 through 12. If they're even through 12, that basically leaves them 70 games to determine what they're going to be, a playoff team, a lottery team, or what. And I can't even tell you. They could win by a lot on Sunday. They could lose by a lot on Sunday. Anything in between is possible. Same thing with the Sixers. There are so many variables, but the Celtics have to they have to hope certain things go right. Joe is searching for, is this a Jordan game? Is this an Hugo game? Is this a Baylor, whatever game it is? You got to try different guys. I don't know why he didn't try Shireman. I have no idea. I thought Shireman would be strong enough to handle some of these guys, but he didn't think Shireman was good enough. And this comes after a stretch of a few games where Shireman was good enough. So it's just all up in the air. It's all up in the air. Have no clue. No clue. We're going to figure this out together. That's the beauty of this season, this podcast. So I'd like to hear your opinion in the comments section on YouTube. That's where to have a conversation. So you can obviously listen to the show. It's available everywhere. It's free. YouTube, the comment section is where everybody gathers. The fellow everydayers gather to try to hash this out. I'm normally the one with the analysis, but I can't tell you how this Celtics season is going to go moving forward. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. People want to tank. People want to go for it. I have no idea how it's going to go. we have to figure this out. Sunday's going to be interesting. I'll be here after the Sunday game. This is the Saturday podcast. I get a day off from podcasting for the first time in 2 weeks. I'm going to enjoy it, but this podcast is daily Monday through Friday. So thank you so much for being here with me all of those days. I appreciate it. Make sure that you're in the comment section, and then make sure you share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.